Hello, good morning. It is morning right now. I did it. Time for my week 1 of the Artist Way check-in. So, main takeaway is, before anything else, is I was really surprised by how much I was actually affected by the first chapter. Because I think there is like 1 or 2 chapters before week 1 where they're explaining like the resources that are in the book, or the main activities. So how the book breaks it down is the first thing you do every day is morning pages, which I actually have to do today because every other day this week I've done them, but today I left my notebook somewhere and I was like, I forgot. But morning pages are every morning, like as soon as you wake up or early in the morning, you just journal like 3 pages and just expel like whatever's in your mind. And I had heard that principle before and encountered that idea, and I wonder if the Artist Way is where it comes from, or if independently other people have come up with it by a different name. But Julia Cameron, she calls it morning pages, and she refers to it as a brain drain. So anything that's like mundane, or it can get as like mundane or profound as you want, but anything that's like occupying space in your mind, you just get rid of it and like flush it out, and that creates space for you to think about other stuff or to think more creatively. And first of all, I noticed since doing that, I was journaling before. Since doing it in the morning, I have felt less compelled to like journal throughout the day, or do like smaller like dumps of whatever brain garbage or like feelings that I have, which feels very stable. It's kind of a struggle, but I think I have it figured out. So I'm not. Morning pages was one of the things I was kind of worried about, because it's every day and every morning, and I already wake up very early to get to work. So I was a little worried about that, but now I feel very secure in that. And then the other thing that is consistent through the entire program is every week you're supposed to do an artist date, and basically that is you go on an outing or like do an activity meant to like stimulate your self-creativity, meant to like stimulate your brain. But it's not necessarily like you have to be doing or like going and like having like these really unique or like out of this world experiences, or like very like highbrow and cultural or anything like that. It's in part just adding new things or more things into your brain so that you have more to pull from when you're creating things. And the other part is, to my understanding, a way of connecting with, the author calls it your inner artist or inner artist child. So, or inner child artist, something like that. So you are supposed to do them alone. I had heard of the Artist Way before, but in my mind I was like, oh, okay, I can use this also as an opportunity to be more social, go to like places and events and like bring people and like have fun. And in the book they're like, don't do that. This is not a social activity. It's like a meditative practice of being alone. So that threw me for a loop a little bit, but I respect it. And I understand it. How the chapters themselves go is you get a sort of explanation on the week's theme. So there's sort of an explanation of the theme, and then the lessons for the week, and then there are some tasks. And in the introductory part of the book, how Julia Cameron suggested you use it is you read through the whole chapter, then you pick about half of the tasks to do and do them all as fast as possible. Like, if it's writing, speed write them all. If it's activities, try to do them as soon as possible so that you don't have the urge to like put them off and put them off and put them off and then just like give up on them. So I was like, that is a strategy that will work for me. The champion giver upper. So I did that, and like honestly, as I was reading the chapter, and this is an older book, by the way. So as I was reading the chapter, some of the like writing, and also there's certain like spirituality or self-help, like self-development type of verbiage that I am trying to buy in, but it's like sometimes I hear these words, or I will read these words and I'm like, okay girl, I don't know about that one. So I was trying not to be like that, but I was also being like that. And then I got to the tasks. And the suggestions were, if you feel strongly that you want to do something and strongly that you don't want to do something, pick those activities. And then if you're neutral about something, don't do those. So that's what I tried to follow, but I kind of felt neutral about all of them. So I tried to stick to that, but still make sure I did like at least 50%. So I did 3 that were pretty easy, and then 3 that like I was kind of like eye rolling at. But one of the ones was I think it was called Hall of Monsters, where you like, it's a part of this other activity that was mentioned in the chapter called time travel, where you think back on your life in like increments of like 5 years and identify moments where either you were encouraged and they push you forward, or you were discouraged and they like shut you off from your creativity. I didn't do it necessarily like that in like the 5-year chunks. I just like stream of consciousness, like let the memories come to me. And I was doing the negative experience. I did do positive ones too, but low-key, there's one, it's not like I have never had like positive art experiences. Honestly, now I'm thinking of some as I'm saying this that I'm thinking of some that I could like add. But one of the biggest figures or heroes when it comes to like my art life and encouraging me is, there was a class that I took in college with one specific professor, and it was like a storytelling like themed class, but it was a drawing class. And at that time I was like, I went to school for fashion, so I was a a 3D major, I didn't have to do a lot of drawing. Well, you do in fashion, but not to the same extent as like if you're doing like illustration or animation, something that's like, or even like graphic design, something that's 2D. You sketch your ideas, and then you make them in 3D. But I had at the time basically been planning, because I also had an injury. I basically was like, I'm not gonna draw anymore. Like I was like literally about to give up like 2D drawing, and then I took that class, and it like totally like reignited my love for drawings, like drawing and painting. I was like, wow. So he's my hero. He's in that professor specifically, because he made the class so fun. It felt like, in a way, like kindergarten, like reliving that like level of like excitement to do like arts and crafts and drawings and stuff like that. It was lots of fun. So he was in my heroes category, and the other category is the like Hall of Monsters, the people who have like people who have like discouraged you, or given you a narrative to explain why you shouldn't pursue art or whatever. And it wasn't necessarily, there's like one or two specific people, but I was letting myself just write out the experiences where I felt the most like cut down. And I was supposed to do 5, but I was writing, and I just like kept writing. And the more and more I kept going, I was like, oh, first of all, I'm discovering why I feel the way I feel sometimes, like hesitant to share with people my work. To get into it, briefly, what I was noticing is the way I grew up, I didn't have a lot of like close friendships. It was just, I went to a very small school. I didn't dislike very many people. I just didn't like not even get along with, but I just wasn't close to many people either. Ultimately, I wasn't close to a lot of people, and that's it. But I was like the art kid. And I think having that sort of like identity thrust upon me, a lot of it was kind of like weird pressure. And I didn't feel anxiety about it at the time, but looking back, what I think affected me is I was not emotionally connected with really anyone in my class, as an example. But if I was entertaining myself with like writing or drawing or something like that, people would want to look at it or engage with it. And it's like, you want to engage with my work, but you don't want to connect with me. It was actually like, especially some of my writing, it was like, this is actually too intimate for me to share with you. But I would let people like look at it, and then they'd be like, oh yeah, it's good, and then like go off to like their group of friends and like be talking about it or about me, and then another person would come over and be like, let me read that, and so on and so forth. And thinking back on that day, I'm like, I should have said no to all of those people and just like had fun by myself. Not necessarily that I should have, because at the time I didn't feel any particular way about it, but now I'm kind of like, I'm so like sensitive now about protecting my work while it's in its most like vulnerable like beginning stages. Like, but before I really know what I want to say, I don't need to like share it with people, if you know what I'm saying. Like, once I work some of the kinks out, then it's like, okay, we can do some like bouncing stuff off the walls and like critiquing and like working through some stuff. But give me some distance so that if there's another like situation that happened, I showed someone something that I wrote and they literally said, this is the stupidest thing I've ever read. And it's like, I was probably in middle school or maybe like late elementary school, and that was like very painful to hear from someone while I was having fun and like enjoying the like creative process. It's not like I had like buried those experiences like totally, but you know, there's stuff in your life you don't think about every day, and going going through that like process like really uncovered it, and I saw more of a through line through all of these experiences that I would not have been able to identify in the past. So after that, I was really like, oh, not this book working. What? The millions of people who have read this and say that it's good are right? Strange. On a lighter note, one of the other tasks was a suggestion for an artist date, which, first of all, great that I didn't have to think of some, because I was like researching like on like Pinterest and TikTok and you know, across the internet looking for artist date ideas, and nothing was really grabbing me. And in the book, the author suggested, she said, take $5 and go to a five and dime, adjust for inflation. So I had happened to have taken a walk one day, and then at the end of it, I was in a store to pick up some stuff. And while I was there, I like to go down the toy aisles and just look at what's there. And I saw some like mystery boxes. Oh, I didn't fully explain what the prompt was. It was to take $5 and go to a five and dime and pick up some like silly, useless things that you're like attracted to, like star-shaped stickers or like little doodads, stuff that you normally wouldn't buy for yourself because you would think of it as like a waste or as like useless. So anyway, I was in the store. I saw, so you know those like mystery boxes or like mini brands, things like that. I saw some of those and I was like, oh, these are cute, but like it's just like useless garbage. So I was going to leave them, but then I remembered that prompt, and I got a couple for myself. I got a Hello Kitty mystery figurine, and I got Cinema Roll. I love him. And a couple like mini like plant mystery boxes. And I just went home and like put them all together, and I was like, wow. Achieved. My plan for the week, though, for my artist date was to bake some bread, though, which I want to try to do today. We'll see about it. But I went and got bread flour and yeast and everything. So I'm planning on doing that today. Aside from that, I really have been feeling the effects of like the change, just like over the course of the week, in small ways, where I'm like feeling more emotionally connected or more like motivated, or like getting more like ideas in my head for like things to make and do, which is nice because one of my goals was to feel more connected to the work. And that has really helped with like execution. And then because I'm like having a clear idea because I'm having a clear idea of what I want and how to execute it, it comes out better. And because it comes out better, I feel more motivated to continue. So I can already feel I feel like I'm going to have a good experience. But also, in the book, it says basically going through these 12 weeks, you're going to go through a grieving process. I am a little afraid of the point where it gets dark. Because apparently there's a section where a lot of people want to quit. But we're taking it 1 week at a time. I'm going to keep going. So far, so good. And I'll check in again next week. Bye.